What lies in front of you is a 2018 BMW X3 M40i with 13,000 miles. Now, the BMW X3 was originally introduced in 2003 as the second SUV in BMW's fleet, only behind the BMW X5, which was introduced in 1999. Now, BMW kind of energized the luxury mid-size SUV segment and has taken over with tremendous sales over the years. There has been 3 generations of the X3, this being the first year of the 3rd generation of the 2018 model years, and these sales have gone up increasingly over the years, peaking at 201,000 sales worldwide in 2018, which is very strong for a mid-sized luxury SUV. Now, in this video, I'll be taking you around the BMW X3, showing off its luxurious features, taking it for a drive, and seeing where it falls in the limitless evaluation scale. Stay tuned. Moving to the trunk of the X3, I want to point out that you are provided with a pretty decent amount of trunk space. I mean, granted, there is no 3rd row. However, for a mid-sized luxury SUV, that's a pretty decent amount of trunk space you have back here. Fit a lot of items if you're going on vacation, if like an important business meeting, you need a lot of stuff. There's plenty of room for you to put your belongings, so it's pretty nice. And as you can see with the 2nd row folded down, you have even more room. And in case you need to even haul like possibly like a decent sized piece of furniture, you could fit it pretty easily back here in the BMW X3. So if you were looking for a spacious vehicle, the X3 has plenty of space for you if need be. Taking a look at the exterior of the X3, you kind of have a chiseled hood, as you can see. BMW provides you with these very nice, like kind of rigid looking lines on the hood of the X3. Very cool touch, gives a very nice look. As you can see here, you have your LED headlights right here. The only thing that's like a bit of an issue or debate in the car world is BMW's increasingly large grills. The kidney grills on this vehicle are rather large opposed to the older generation X3s, having a pretty decent size, almost like a footballish, but nonetheless, it fits the X3 as the X3 itself has grown in size, and the grill is trying to be proportional with it, so it's understandable. And being that this is the M40i edition of the X3, you can see you have a massive brake right there with the BMW M logo in the matching blue color. And as you can see, there's a little M badge underneath the BMW logo on every single one of the wheels. Nice little attention to detail on BMW's part. Now that we have seen the X3's exterior features, let's move on to the interior. Moving to the rear of the X3, as you can see, I have a pretty decent amount of legroom back here. The seat is pushed fairly far back for the driver, and I still have a pretty decent amount of room to stretch out. I'm about 5'10", and I have a pretty decent amount of room. It's pretty spacious for a mid-size SUV. It's not as wide as the back seat of like a full-size pickup or like an S-Class. However, you still have a decent amount of legroom back here. As far as everything else goes in the rear of the X3, not a whole hell of a lot of features back here. You have a very nice pattern on the rear seats, very comfortable for backseat passengers. Three seats right here. You have your optional straps in case you need to fit a car seat back here. You have an individual speaker right behind the handle. And I like how BMW fastens you with a nice wooden panel, another little speaker, and an X badge in chrome to display the opulence of the backseat of the X3. Aside from that, as far as storage goes, you have two little pouches on the back of each of the driver's and passenger seats. Pretty standard in most SUVs and cars in general. And back here, you have your climate control buttons and a little USB charger right here for passengers that want to charge their phone or laptop or whatever need be. Pretty nice. Moving to the interior of the X3, the first thing I want to point out is that the ride height is fairly higher than I imagined. I mean, granted this is an SUV, don't get me wrong, but I thought it would be kind of smaller instead, because it is a bit of a crossover, not a full size, but you're much higher up than I assumed you would be. First thing, as you can see, as I point out, you have your heads-up display right in front of you, showing your miles per hour and the speed limit in the given area. Move down here, you have a mainly digital speedometer and odometer readout. I like how BMW kind of has the corresponding colors with the red and blue for the temperature of the vehicle. And the whole gauge cluster is very nice and precise looking, very clean and modern, very opulent look to match the rest of the vehicle. And then moving back here, you have all your given features. You have your various talk and text and voice control models in the X3, so you can use your voice to command, to put on the radio, various other features that the X3 provides you with. Over here, you have two little blank switches over here in case you like all the packages, which would bump the price up pretty fairly. The X3 starts at about $55,000. That would range it up with all the additional packages up to possibly $70,000 if you get everything. Over here, you have your headlight controls and your AC vents, kind of with a triangular look. Very different, but overall pretty nice. You have your various memory seats right here, your door unlock. So one thing that's nice about the two memory seats, say you and your significant other, your friend drive this car pretty frequently, you can have you're sitting on one, the other person's on two. Pretty nice. And as I touched in the back seat, the caramel brown leather interior, almost orangey. These seats are very, very gorgeous looking. The caramel brown color, as in the 335i that I reviewed, really makes this car have a luxurious look. It's hard to say how much I enjoy the beautiful look of this color of seating. It is super nice and really luxurious looking. These seats are very comfortable as well, as you can sit in. It is a mid-size SUV instead of a sedan, so they're a bit of a more bolstered, chunkier seat, larger. It is big, cushiony headrest right here. And the pattern is very nice with all this leather stitching. You have your lumbar support. This thing can bump out if you wanted to. Say you're a little bit taller, want some support for your legs. This will bump out for you. Very nice and comfortable features as part of BMW's options. Moving to the center console of the X3, the overall design of most BMWs stays pretty similar in all their models. The typical vent control and the various climate controls as well right here. Moving down here, I like how it says M with the BMW M logo colors. Give very nice attention to detail to display the high package model that you purchased for your X3. Down here you have your various cup holders, pretty deep, it's an SUV. You have a little charging outlet right here to maximize space pretty well. You have a little storage outlet right here, as you can see, fit little things like coins, pens, any other various miscellaneous items you could fit right here. And in case you want to hide these, have a little drawer right here, you can shut it. If not, you want to keep it open it like so. Very easy and simple to use. Moving down here, you have your typical BMW shift lever right here. Park, hitting the P button right here. You want to put it in reverse, you would shift it upward, put it in drive, shift it backward. You're good to go. And down here as well, as you can see, you have your various driving modes. You have your sport mode, comfort mode, eco pro to be a little more fuel efficient. Traction control button right here. And a bunch of parking auto hold buttons, as you can see in most modern cars. If you don't remember the auto hold button, for those of you who don't know what it is, instead of holding down your foot on the brake pad at a stoplight, the car will do it for you. This is a feature in the Toyota Corolla that I reviewed, but it is a pretty nice feature in case you want to physically hold down the brake pedal. And continuing with the center console on the X3, as you can see, there's a little bit of wood right there above the aluminum design. Moving down here to your infotainment controls right here, you have a little bit more wood. And as far as storage goes in your center storage console, it is the same matching luxurious caramel brown kind of orangey leather. Open it up. And you have a decent amount of storage. It is a mid-sized luxury SUV kind of crossover, so a pretty decent storage alley. Get pretty deep in there for various items. Nothing extremely huge like a full size, but nonetheless, a pretty decent amount of storage for a mid-sized SUV. And moving to the infotainment system in the X3, the infotainment system in this BMW is relatively similar to all the other BMWs that I've reviewed. It is extremely similar to the M235i that I reviewed. However, I will go over some minor touches. As you can see here, you have all your generic displays, your media, radio, navigation, and communications. And you can control this all with this little dial right here. All your buttons right here, media, communications, menu, map and navigation. You can write the direction with your finger on this if you choose to do so. And your back button and options menu if you want to. And this is a touch screen, and it is very adaptive to your touch almost instantaneously, almost no lag, as it should be with the modern technological improvements of vehicles and BMW's high integration of technological features. Very strong and very adaptive, no lag, very nice. And if you want to use this, as always, it's like a little dial. Scroll through everything, click on it, various menu options. If you want to use, say put it in an address somewhere, put in navigation, click on that. That'll pop up, put in your address, and if you want to display it on a map, you hit the map button. Boom, right there. Very adaptive to your touch, very simple to use. And if you want to see a more in-depth tour of the infotainment system in a BMW, check out one of my other reviews, but nonetheless, it is relatively similar in all Beamer models. Very nice though. So for those of you who may be wondering what this little button is underneath the hazard light of a car enshrined in a green circle, it is all the various safety features equipped in the X3. Simply click on it and you can see all your various safety features that you can configure in the X3. You want to configure some to be very specific, you can see you have your pedestrian warning, frontal collision, lane departures, with these all little individual designs to display the safety features to ensure your maximum safety in your X3. And as you can see, I love how they have a little X3 instead of putting a generic car. They have the same car that you were fastened in, except that it's a gray model with all these little designs to match. Pretty cool touch on BMW's part. And as you can see, we have a panoramic sunroof in the X3, which comes standard in every model, which is very nice. And as you can see, simply press a button and it will open like so. Hold it down and it just whirs open for you. Very nice. If you want to do some top-down driving in your X3, simply do that. And it adds a lot of light to give you a very nice touch, brightness in the X3. Good snap photos. 2018 BMW X3. The first thing I'm going to point out, this thing sounds so good. It's just a basic 3-liter 6-cylinder in a BMW, but it sounds mean. Like, it's got some kick and it just sounds badass for a mid-sized luxury sedan SUV. And I know it's the M40i, but it sounds so good. I've never driven a vehicle with the heads-up display before. It's kind of weird to get used to at first because it's just weird having a little speedometer projected on the road in front of you. It's a bit quirky, but it's a nice little feature to have in case you don't know the speed limit. And one thing I'll also say is this thing is so, it is a larger vehicle opposed to some tiny little sedan, but you don't feel like you're going as fast as you are. I was going 50 a second ago and I feel like I was going 20. This thing has some serious pickup. It is a very fast vehicle. And I'm barely punching it. I'm hitting 50 instantly. It is so quick. And you hear that kind of that deep grumble. It sounds so good. And aside from just the overall sound of the vehicle, it's a very comfortable ride. You have very good handling in this thing. You feel so in control. BMW does a great thing. It's a German vehicle, and BMW, they're experts at making you feel in control and having power. This thing does that so well. Just sitting here punching it, it moves. Got great get up. So nice. All right, now we got the car in sport mode. Punching it. It sends. This thing just cooks, no worries. It just blows you away almost. You just barely put your foot to the floor, you hear that mean throttle, going 60, almost 70 instantly. It's bizarre how fast this vehicle truly is. One thing I will point out too, the ride height is taller than I imagined. As I said, while just sitting here, the ride height is a bit more steep. Like, you know, it's not a super tall vehicle, but you get in this thing, the seat's kind of like pushed up a little bit. So, you know, if you feel a little bit more in control, king of the road, kind of large vehicle-esque, it's nice. Hood's got a really cool chiseled look to it, as I mentioned before, from the exterior. Adds a nice little subtle touch when you're driving it. And like I said, like the turning radius is pretty strong. You feel very planted. And BMW, you know, very good handling on a car as large as this. You know, 355 horsepower under the hood of this puppy. You know, you feel very in control though. One other weird touch I will say, not really driving related. When you put the vehicle in drive, the seatbelt kind of hugs you to make sure it's strapped in well, and it almost feels like you're getting groped by a seatbelt. So it's a bit of a odd feature, but it feels, you know, all the safety. So BMW just looking out for you. But you know, making a light little turn like that, punching it 45 almost instantly, feels so good. Like, this is an awesome car to drive. So awesome. It's nice. I think that mostly covers it, but it is now time for the interview section, in which I answer 6 generic questions one would go to ask when going to purchase a vehicle. Question number 1 is, do I like the X3? And the answer is yes. This thing is a blast to drive while giving you the practicality of a standard SUV. So I'd be surprised if you were to not like this vehicle. So yes, I do like the X3. Question number 2 of the interview section is, what is my favorite part about the X3? And that's going to be the driving experience. The exhaust note of this thing is so impressive for a straight 6 SUV, and it's just a blast to drive. So that would be my favorite part of the X3. Question number trace of the interview section is, what is my least favorite part of the X3? And I know that it is a safety feature, but I really do not like how the seatbelt kind of squeezes you when you put it in drive. It is a very awkward and kind of uncomfortable feeling the first time you do it. So that would have to be my least favorite feature of the X3. Question number 4 of the interview section is, what is the weirdest part of the X3? That would be the hood strut that holds up the undercarriage cargo section of this vehicle. You would usually see this thing, you know, when you prop up your hood to check your engine, but it is in the back seat underneath the trunk to hold up the undercarriage storage of the X3. Kind of odd. Question number 5 of the interview section is the X3 M40i worth its value? And I would say yes. I mean, you are paying about $55,000 for a mid-size luxury SUV. However, you have a lot of luxurious features in there, and you have the amazing driving experience. So when you put all that inside of a vehicle, pack it together with the luxury package and make it all fancy, I would say it's worth its value. Will it depreciate a little bit? Yes, but nonetheless, starting value, I would say it's worth it. Question number 6 of the interview section is, would I ever want/own the X3? And the answer is yes. This is a really, really awesome mid-sized luxury SUV. However, would I probably own a BMW SUV? Maybe not the X3, maybe like an X6 or a 7 if I could afford it, as I'm a fan of larger SUVs. Nonetheless, it's an awesome, great car to buy if you have the money for it and you want to have some fun with your family car. That's a BMW.